Hello, everyone. Now I will provide a brief summary of the movie Tim Thaler oder das Verkaufsglaschen. Enjoy the viewing experience. The film's storyline unfolds in a small German town during the 1920 seconds. A photographer plans to capture a school class photo, urging everyone not to smile. However, Tim Thaler is too naturally cheerful, causing the picture to turn out less than perfect. Tim resides in an impoverished neighborhood. His father raises him, emphasizing the importance of seriousness. Tim accompanies a man to the races, resulting in an unsuccessful bet. On their way home, Hans promises Tim that if they win next time, they will dine at the town's most luxurious restaurant. Following the passing of Tim's mother, his father contemplates starting anew with a woman who has her own son. The family relocates to the Tylers, where Tim shares a room with Erwin. Erwin, the older boy, promptly bullies Tim and damages a model they had crafted together before their mother's demise. In response, Tim labels Erwin as disrespectful, prompting Erwin to immediately complain to his mother, who subsequently informs Hans about the incident. Despite the bruises and insults, the boy continues to enjoy life. Moreover, his friend Ida supports him in everything and often tells unfunny jokes about worms. Finally, Hans bet won. As promised, he took his son to the Grand Hotel, but they didn't let the poor inside. At that time, Tim didn't know how miserable life could become in an instant. Soon, his father died at the construction site due to an accident. The greedy stepmother didn't even make a plaque with her husband's name and didn't buy flowers for the grave. Tim cried and ran away. He looked at the Grand Hotel and then ran to the racecourse. On the ground, he found a coin. At the same moment, a man in glasses approached him and handed him a ticket, assuring the boy that it's a winning ticket. The stranger tells the boy that he knew his father and wanted to help. Despite the minimal odds, the horse Tim bet on was the one that won. The boy at the ticket booth was given a whole bunch of money, but instead of being happy, he cried, remembering his father. A couple of swindlers immediately began to approach the naive boy. Tim took a stack of banknotes and showed the boy how to keep money safe from thieves. Then, he returned the bundle back to its owner. In the evening, the mysterious stranger approached Tim again and informed him that the boy had lost all the money. Indeed, instead of banknotes, there were pieces of cut paper in the handkerchief. The man gave another gift of 5-mark coin. Baron Teufel promised Tim that he would win again at the races in a week. The main thing was to come to the gazebo at the racecourse at 3 o'clock. Every day, the stepmother sends Tim to the bakery for pastries, always taking them on credit. Tim hopes that today he will win and finally pay off for the pastries. As agreed, Tim came to the gazebo at 3 o'clock, but Baron Teufel was not there, and the boy fell asleep. Instead, a couple of swindlers showed up, and they once again left the boy without money. Now he won't be able to pay for the winning ticket. It's a shame you're not so lucky with money, Teufel said, and immediately offered the young lad to sell his laughter. He already had the contract with him. In exchange for his laughter, Tim gains the ability to win any bet, and if he does lose, his laughter will return to him. But if Tim tells anyone about this deal, he will lose both his laughter and his luck. The lad signed the contract. Although the pen initially resisted, the smile immediately vanished from the Joker's face. Teufel gave him 5 marks and suggested he go and bet on the most hopeless horse. Taking off his glasses, he revealed his eerie yellow eyes. In a matter of minutes, Tim won 670 marks, but he feels strange. Voices of emotions changed. He returned Ida's mother's debt and invited the girl to the movies. And if he used to laugh during the movie, now everyone laughs except him. And here, the satisfied Baron laughs without stopping. He praised his demon employees, those same swindlers who robbed Tim several times. The chief gave them the task of watching the boy every day and sending him reports. And to prevent Tim from knowing about them, the demon turned. The couple turned into rats. To all the other minions, he ordered them to constantly laugh and be cheerful. Ida thought that her moody friend was angry with her for something. He even had money from somewhere. Tim joked that he robbed a senator and tried to laugh. The limping girl thought it wasn't a joke. so she got scared and ran away. She told her mother everything. One woman overheard the conversation and passed it to her acquaintances, and they to theirs. And so, the rumor of the crime spread throughout the street. When Tim returned home, Erwin took his money, and he was already about to beat him. But then Ida's mother came to them and saved the boy, informing him that no one had attacked the senator. Tim understood that the girl had betrayed him and became opposite. Meanwhile, the rats are thinking about how to write reports, as they now have paws instead of hands. Tim fully utilizes his superpower and leaves the guys without pocket money during the game. After all, every ball he throws rolls straight into the center of the circle. When Tim argued with Erwin that the chair was broken, the furniture immediately fell apart. No one wants to play with Tim anymore. Even the school outcast, the nerd, and the chubby kid avoid him. The rats felt a bit sorry for the lonely boy. Suddenly, Baron Teufel teleported a hippopotamus to himself and demanded he tell a joke. The demon didn't like the joke, so he gave his accomplice a second chance. If the joke doesn't work for him again, the hippopotamus's colleague will be sent to the basement for 1,000 years. In the end, the demon simply threw him to the floor and laughed. Ida wants to reconcile with Tim, so she brought him a cake. But the boy wasn't home, and Erwin gobbled up the cake in one go. Relatives came to the racecourse together with Tim. With their own eyes, they saw how every bet was winning. Tim advised them to bet all the money on a horse that seemed physically incapable of coming first. The odds were 1 to 135, and unexpectedly their horse came fourth. However, the audience was immediately informed that after a veterinarian inspection, the horses that had taken the first 3 places were disqualified. That's how the family won 40,000 francs. But Tim himself wasn't pleased by it. In the evening, he approached the Grand Hotel. The bartender, who also often visits the racecourse and had long noticed the lucky lad, invited him inside. He was curious where Tim learned so much about racing. Learning that the boy was an orphan, Kresimir offered him a snack. Tim made a bet with his new acquaintance that he would work here. The landlady immediately approached them and informed them that they needed a lift operator. The old man disappeared somewhere. That's how Tim got a job as an elevator operator, though he won't be able to smile at the guests. Tim had a dream in which he asked Teufel to return his laughter. The next day, he left home, leaving a farewell note. He said goodbye to Ida, the only person dear to him. Ida was very opposite. This time, Baron Teufel came to her. The demon lied, saying that Tim turned away from her because of her lameness. He claimed he preferred girls with healthy legs, but he could help her. All Ida needed to do was make a deal with him. Tim wants to put a beautiful gravestone for his father, so he went to the stonemason. Choosing the most expensive monument, he bet with the stonemason that he had seen exactly the same one on Hans Tyler's grave. Soon he found himself there. Tim searches for Baron Teufel at the racecourse, but the workers chased the too lucky boy away from here. Teufel's name is not in the phone directory. The chambermaids caught rat catchers and wanted to kill them. Tim said he would handle it and released the little creatures. At the same time, Baron Teufel constantly makes them write reports. Tim rereads the contract and dreams of losing a bet at least once to regain his laughter. The boy came up with a way to locate the Baron. He bet with the world from the rooftop that Teufel would come here tomorrow. The whole hotel was in an uproar before the visit of a large number of villains from around the world, and the leader among them was the Baron. Tim told him that he intends to get his laughter back. Teufel took off his glasses. It turned out his eyes had ceased to be demonic. Contacting the hippopotamus, he demanded that they not take their eyes off the boy. The villains pounced on the food as if they were hungry animals. Tim seemed to understand whose eyes the Baron had acquired, so he quickly bet that he would go to Ida's mother's bakery. Despite the order, the minions preferred to eat the cake instead of following the boy. Tim ran to Ida, who was hiding in a dark room. The girl lied to everyone that she had an eye infection. She made a deal with the Baron because of Tim, as he likes only girls with healthy legs. The boy convinces his friend to make a bet with him that she can regain her eyes. At the same time, the Baron addressed the villains. The room darkened, and right in the middle of his speech, Teufel felt unwell. His demonic eyes returned to him. The girl was very happy because she still had her eyes and healthy legs. The Baron threatens his henchmen that if they fail him again, he will destroy them. Krishimir realized that his young friend wins any bet he makes, and he quickly confirmed it by betting that the horse would not come to the hotel and would not approach the counter. Then Krishimir wanted the hotel owner to fall in love with him and kiss him right away. The lady was already heading towards him, but at the last moment, the man cancelled the bet, intending to win her heart on his own. Astute Krishimir also understood that the boy desires this, even if it means losing a bet at least once. The man came up with an idea to make a bet for Tim to become richer than the richest person, as it's impossible. They made the bet, but the smile didn't return. Writing down the name of Baron Teufel, Krishimir read it backward and it turned into devil. When the man was in the elevator, the demon appeared to him. Krishimir lost consciousness and became seriously ill. At night, a policeman came to Tim with a crowd of guards. Baron Teufel had died, and Tim was named as his sole heir in the will. The boy became the richest person in the world. He was brought to the mansion and, passing by the Baron's coffin, was settled in the nursery. In the morning, the boy looked around and assessed the value of the expensive things surrounding him. He also learned that his guardian would be Baron Teufel, supposedly the deceased billionaire's twin brother. Tim asked again to return his laughter, and this time the demon inexplicably didn't refuse. A crowd of reporters stormed into the mansion. They took photos of the laughing boy, but as soon as they left, everything returned to normal. Baron confesses that he needs the smile to make villainous contracts. For example, to drain all the water from an African village and then sell it to the locals in bottles. The Baron has a massive office where demons devise such schemes. And Teufel also has a remote control that triggers fires, disasters, and epidemics. Tim figured out the demon. Despite his power, the demon tries to emulate humans and adopt their traits. It turns out that with each one bet, Tim loses a part of his soul and will soon become a demon as well. Tim's stepmother and stepbrother came to him to ask for a loan. They lost all their winnings at the races. Sealing their mouths shut, Tim said he would give them 60,000 francs and then sent them away. The demon keeps making one bet after another with Tim, taking pieces of his soul. The Baron led the boy into a room where he would learn to control the world. If Tim wants Ida to be alive and well, he must forget about her. The girl found out where her friend lives and came to him, but Tim intentionally treats Ida rudely. The only thing he asked her to bet on was that a certain Krishimir would recover, and the man immediately got better. Tim humiliated his friend once again, and feeling upset, she left. The Baron obtained the smile, but he doesn't know how to use it. So Tim gives the demon hints about when to laugh during a comedy show. The minions discuss that it was indeed the Baron who killed Tim's father to obtain his smile. The villain ordered posters with a picture of a laughing Tim to be plastered around the city. Ida took one and showed it to Krishimir. The poster says that Tim is organizing the Tyler Cup at the Hippodrome, and everyone will win at the races. They welcome the richest person on the planet. Tim stood next to a choir from the orphanage for a photo taken by a photographer. As always, he asks the children not to smile. The villain suggests to Tim to make a bet with the orphan girl for his smile, and then the two of them can laugh together. The hippopotamus tries to prevent Ida from reaching her friend, while Belial convinces his partner to help the girl instead. The demons sent Tim under the stands, where his friends were waiting for him, and offered him a bet that he could laugh again. Then he would get his smile back even if he lost. The Baron sensed trouble, and the sky became overcast with clouds. A heavy rain began to fall. Detached, Tim says that he no longer needs his smile, but another unfunny joke from Ida about worms helped him recover. At the moment when the evil demon entered the room, Tim reached out and made a bet that he could laugh again. With the help of his friends, Tim was able to deceive the Baron and regain his smile. The miserable old man sits on the grass and cries diamonds. Out of malice, the scoundrel turned his helpers back into rats again. Ida promised to take care of them, and Tim was adopted by Ida's mother, and they started living together. If you enjoyed my retelling, please support the channel with a comment of more than 4 words. It greatly helps promote the video. Goodbye.